Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space on all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan, support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Sunday, and we actually just dropped a thought piece this past Sunday, so be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you are looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available on 12 different podcast platforms for your listening leisure, and we provided you with access to the links in the description down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like our conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Allô les meufs et les mecs, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis, and today our topic of discussion is mental wellness. And on the topic of mental wellness this week, we're going to be talking about the power and the responsibility involved with using our voice. And I think this is an important conversation, and I do think that it brushes on mental wellness because oftentimes when it is the case that we silence ourselves when we know we should speak up, it hurts us. It hurts us when we're not using our voice. And for those of us who have adapted or adopted different beliefs that our voice is insignificant, even that truth, internalizing that truth, it is hurtful. And it couldn't be further from the truth. There is significant power in using our voice, and actually it supports our own sense of wellness when we use it and when we speak up and when we are vocal about things that just do not rub us the right way, things that don't align with our values, things that we see in our society that absolutely should not be taking place, because collectively they don't help us move forward. They don't help us, or their rhetoric or narratives or campaigns or marketing activations that we recognize really do dehumanize, it diminishes, and it devalues our humanity. And I think that there's a lot happening right now in the media, and I prefer to talk about the things that I see important and aligned with the topic of Project Purpose and what our mandate is, and the current topics of conversation happening really do align with that. So I'm going to provide my opinion, and my opinion will be framed within the lens of leveraging our voice. I think that so often people allow themselves to hierarchize themselves above others because of social status, because of net worth, because of what they've been able to do and get away with in the dark, because of how many people they've been able to silence. And I think that is so important, that when we realize how much resources people put behind silencing others, the counterfact of that is What would happen if they didn't? What would happen if people didn't do everything within their absolute power to silence the voice of others against the things they do in the dark? And what would happen is they would deal with the consequences of their actions, and they would have to face the reality that who they are and what they do in the dark is a real demonstration of a lack of morality, a lack of character, and a lack of alignment with reality if you really think you can get away with doing those things. And for the organizations and the institutions and the brands who like to get away with doing things in the dark because they expect that people will not speak up, we need to start to really erode that sense of confidence. And I think we need to erode that sense of confidence, especially now where the targets are children. And if there is anything that will get me animated, that will get me worked up, it will be on the topic of exploiting and harming children, and for just the opportunity to flex a power muscle and put the message out there that I am above reproach and I am above consequence. And I think that's a lot of what's happening right now. And some of what's been demonstrated in the media is a general lack of regard for baseline humanity and feeling that that is something that will be tolerated, right? And I think that sometimes when people build up that confidence, it doesn't build up just out of the gate, right? No one wakes up feeling so confident that they could do an act or do a gesture that is so degrading and harmful to humanity, especially to children, and then they have, the kahunas to do it. That is something that is built up over infractions, over exploitations that have taken place where consequences were not handed out. And I think that sometimes people who find that they look at themselves in the mirror and they think that I can get away with this, I am above reproach, I am above consequence, I can do what I want regardless of how it aligns with morality, regardless of how it aligns with even the justice system. If I do it in the dark and if I do what I can with resources I have at my disposal to silence the voices who would otherwise rise up against me, then who is going to stop me? And I think that it's very important for anyone who is on this slippery slope to nowhere very quickly to recognize that the principle of induction dictates that the past is not a predictor of future events. And sometimes it is our past or your past or anyone's past of getting away with doing ugly things that makes them feel confident and more bold to do even worse. And they silence and they have the resources to silence the voices of the people who have the eyes to see what is going on, but then they get bigger and bolder because at the end of the day, nature is such that the more you build up against you, the more harm and infraction that you cause towards others, you will put yourself in a position that when you do get caught, when you do get hit with the reality that consequences are broadly applicable and no one is above it, you will get hit for every person that you have harmed, for every voice that you have silenced, for every deed done in the dark that no one will ever know about. When you get caught, when you get hit, when the consequences get doled out, it will be by magnitudes. Recognize that many of us will understand why, certain people crumble to such an extent, why the outcome was so dark or so horrific, or why, the consequences don't seem to measure up to the act that we see. But I am a firm believer that sometimes the consequences are a byproduct of all the little things that you thought you got away with that were just building up into one big consequence, one big blow up, that all of our voices have the power to enact, whether we're vocal or whether we've been silenced. And I think that there is a true natural balance that takes place in our life. And this is more of my own, inherent belief system coming out, where if it is the case that someone has been silenced unduly and they've been harmed in being silenced, every person that is silenced and who has their spirit broken, they've not had the opportunity to leverage their voice, there is a consequence for that. Right? And I think sometimes people think that they win, that they get away when they're able to silence the voice of others. But people's voices are powerful when they're being used, and that power is still there when they've been silenced. And what you're doing is you're accumulating consequence upon consequence for every voice that you have silenced that wanted to speak up. And I think that we're in a position right now where there's so much happening that is forcing all of us to speak up, because this is just like ugly, disgusting behavior and grand gestures of bold ignorance and of bold disregard to humanity that they're going to recognize very quickly, and without the opportunity to rebound, that actually consequences are for everyone. It doesn't matter how elite you think yourself. It doesn't matter to what extent you think that you have a very deeply embedded superiority complex. Your time is coming. And this isn't for everyone. I don't think that everyone who is elite, everyone who has amassed a lot of success and a lot of privilege puts themselves in a position where people see to what extent their humanity in and of itself has been eroded and degraded, which gives you a sense as to how they amounted or amassed their success. I think there are a lot of people who recognize that success is a humbling road, right? Like if you're not cutting corners, if you're not taking shortcuts, success is a humbling road. Once you arrive to where it is you're going, you have a real sense of your own fallibility, of your own humanity, of your own limitations. And you recognize, that no matter what it is that you achieve in life, there needs to be this exercise of gratitude, because everything is temporal, right? Success is temporal, failure is temporal, so on and so forth. But if you're someone who has cut corners, you've done dirty deeds in the dark, like you've amassed what it is that people think is success, what it is that people think is honor, is status, by doing very ugly, dirty things, that's going to be ripped away from you in a very brutal way. Some of what's happening in the media right now, and I'm not talking about it directly, but we all know what's happening. I mean, it's all over my feed. Recognize that your voice has weight. That your voice has weight, not just in addressing the issue at hand, but also in providing the entire network of people involved a reality check that in their delusions of elitism, that there is a reality that they're going to come back to earth to. And it's not going to be pretty and it's not going to be fun, but it will be deserved. So I wanted to come on here and I want to talk about that, because what I'm also recognizing in a lot of the narratives and the rhetoric going on is a lot of despair. A lot of people who feel helpless and who feel hopeless and who feel like if these people with so many resources are this reckless with the way that they behave, if they are this like immoral, if they are this evil, we're all SOL. And I don't think that that's true. I think that people who behave as though they're above consequences are the people who attract the worst, the heaviest hitting, and the most unrelenting consequences that the universe can dole out. And I think that all of us just need to recognize that we have power in our voice. We have power in maintaining our sense of values, in maintaining our sense of morality, and of not letting ourselves bend or become desensitized or normalize a lot of this very grotesque behavior and these grotesque demonstrations of delusions of grandeur, essentially. And whether that's delusions of grandeur of a specific human, of a community, of a network of individuals, of people who follow certain beliefs that are just kind of like, okay, your belief system really does have an issue with humanity in and of itself, and you yourself are human, so like there needs to be a lot of inner work there. Like we need to like unpack a lot of why, you believe certain things that really put humanity in harm's way, and why you're also like acting in certain ways that puts humanity in harm's way. But our voice coupled with our action has the ability to show people that consequences are for everyone, right? Reproach is for everyone. Everyone will meet their day based on what they've done in the light, as well as the things they've done in the dark. And sometimes, like for me, there are certain things that, thought experiments that I will go through about personally, like what could I possibly do to like enact consequence? And I don't think there's a lot that I can personally do without changing the fabric of my humanity. But I also recognize that there is not a lot that I need to do, because certain crimes are crimes against humanity, and those crimes against humanity are crimes that will be doled out by natural law. There are are natural laws that are above social justice, societal justice, which is very flawed, as we all know. But we don't need to like turn to despair because we recognize how flawed societal justice is. There is natural justice that always delivers and right on time. So for those of us who feel like because power and elitism has her pocket in the justice system or has her pocket in all of the different structures that we feel are supposed to be there to protect us, that's okay. All of that can be flawed. All of that can be in disarray, and we can still trust that natural law will create the balance that is required in the time that it feels inclined to act. I am someone who is patient beyond measure, and I've learned to be patient. I'm not a naturally patient person, but I've recognized in exercising patience that everything has its time, and all I need to do is wait. I don't need to rush things. I don't need to apply pressure to certain things. I just need to wait and watch things roll out, and as you wait, if you're observant, if you are mindful, if you are still, you will see the cause and effect that takes place when someone feels that they can go against the grain of nature and they can go against the grain of humanity and of valuing humanity and doing things that are grotesque, that are degrading, that are disgusting, and that are just simply wrong. And if you are watching this and you're the kind of person who has allowed themselves to feel good about the evil things that you do in the dark or even in the daylight, your day in court is coming. All to say, that is it for today. I couldn't say nothing on this topic because the entire mandate of Project Purpose. So I'm on here talking to adults and building community with like-minded individuals. Like the reason why this YouTube channel even came to existence was because I wanted to really provide an opportunity for people to recognize what Project Purpose is about. And that's really about providing children with fundamental skills to be perseverant, to be resilient against like the face of trauma and different events that they could experience through life that might make them feel lesser than, right? And in order to like build up some of the awareness that these e-modules exist, I'm like, well, let's have these conversations with adults because we're all a work in progress. We're all healing from something. Like, let me share words of advice, words of wisdom, healthy habits, methodologies, practices, things that I know have supported me in my journey towards healing and alignment and feeling grounded and centered. So I wanted to come in here and provide my perspective on some of what's been going on. And I'd love to hear your perspective as well. I think that I am someone who has found so much peace knowing that everything that is supposed to happen is going to happen, and anything that I have suffered or that I've experienced personally, I'm happy to heal from because I trust in natural law. I trust in the universe, I trust in balance, and I trust in divine timing. In any case, that was it for today, but definitely not all. But before letting you go, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that we will be going live at least twice a month, every month for the foreseeable future on our Facebook page. So definitely be sure to tune in. Now, these events are paid events, so if you do see yourself participating in our community on an ongoing basis, then I do suggest that you take a look at one of our package plans. Yes, so we do offer package plans over and above our live events, as well as access to webinars and workshops over and above those live events. So definitely be sure to tune in. Be part of the change you want to see by joining our Game Changer community. We look forward to having you and playing a small role in your journey. In any case, so happy that you've tuned in. We're on the road to 1K. Definitely be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Leave a comment down below, and I look forward to chatting with all of you very soon. We'll talk to you later.
Feel like no one's listening.